What we are going to do today is to discuss the solution to the answers in relevant costing exercises. Afterwards, we are going to proceed to pricing strategies. Okay lang? So let's begin. Okay, question number one. May I know what you answered here in question number one? Please put in the messages section, in the chat section, what your answer is. Everyone, okay, number one, what's your answer? Okay, results are now pouring in. Zara has been approached by a foreigner who wants to place a special order for 15,000 units of its product ATB at 22.50 per unit. Zara currently has this item for 39 pesos per unit, and the item has a cost of 29 pesos per unit. Further analysis reveals that Zara will not be paying sales commission, 250 a unit on the sales. Packaging requirement will save an additional 150 per unit. However, an additional graphics required on this job will cost Zara 30,000 pesos. Note also that fixed costs amounting to 400K for the production of 50,000 units will not change. Zara decided to accept the order, but another customer who buys an average of 2,000 units for the period wants to pay 22.50 only rather than the regular selling price of 39 pesos. So nagtampo siya, no? Accepting the special order will increase or decrease the profits by how much? Okay, the first thing that I would like to do is to set the variable cost per unit because when nothing is stated, we assume that all variable costs are incremental. Total unit cost, this is 39 pesos. Total unit cost is 39. Sorry, 29 given. This is 29 per unit given. The unit fixed cost can be arrived at as 400K over 50,000. That is 8 peso per unit. Out of the 29 pesos unit cost, 8 pesos is a fixed cost allocation. So we may now extract the unit variable cost, 21 pesos. When nothing is stated, the entire unit variable cost is deemed incremental. Let's now do our analysis. If we reject the offer, if we reject the special order, Zara will have no change in its profit. If Zara will accept the order, sales would go up by the special price of 22.50 times the number of units, 15K. 22.50 times 15K is 337,500. That's the increase in sales revenue. 337,500. As for the variable cost, although it's 21 pesos, it is stated that 250 yung tinatawag nating sales commission dito. Okay, this 250 a unit is not going to be incurred, as well as 150 packaging. Out of the 21 variable cost per unit, 250 and 150 will not be incurred. So we're going to remove it, multiply by 15,000 units. The increase in variable cost is 255,000. As for our fixed cost, this 400,000 is deemed to remain the same. Walang increase ng fixed cost dapat. However, a special situation happens when there's a fixed cost directly attributable to the job or to the special order. 30,000 daw yung additional graphics required regardless of how many units. So you have an incremental fixed cost of 30,000 pesos. Tapos yung opportunity cost, kakaiba dito. The opportunity cost here is different. Why is it different? Because what happens here is that the regular selling price is 39. 39 daw yung regular selling price. Sorry, tama, 39. Tapos, 22.50 na lang yung gustong bayaran ng isang regular na customer. So, itong customer na to, siguro narinig niya, uy, bakit yung iba binibigyan mo ng discount? Ako rin, gusto ko. Sasabihin natin sa kanya, o sige na, bibigyan ka namin ng discount. Basta tumahimik ka ha. Please shut up, no? Sabihan natin yung customer, just shut up, no? Okay, bibigyan natin ng 22.50. At tuloy, dahil siguro sa ingay, nalaman ng customer, at ngayon, mababawasan tayo ng kita. We can charge 39 originally, but now we're only charging 22.50 for the 2,000 units being sold to this customer. Nawalan tayo ng pagkakataon kumita ng 33,000. When you do combine these four items, you will have an incremental profit of 19,500. Okay, very good. Marami akong nakikitang tamang sagot. 19,500 increase. 19,500 increase. Okay? That's the answer. Number two, Patrens Corporation. Everyone, please. Everyone, please. Number two, Patrens Corporation. Please answer, everyone. Okay, answers are now pouring in. Thank you. Patrens Corporation sells a product for 20 pesos with variable cost of 8 pesos per unit. Patrens could accept a special order for 1,000 units at 14 pesos. If Patrens accepted the order, how many units could it lose at the regular price before the decision become unwise? Bago maging unwise yung decision. Malinaw? When we reject the order, nothing will happen. When we accept the order, sales will increase by 14 times 1,000, 14,000. Okay, the special price of 14. The variable cost is 8 times 1,000 units is 8,000 pesos. Your incremental contribution margin is 6,000 pesos. The incremental contribution margin is 6,000 pesos. Malinaw? So, magkakaroon daw tayo ng opportunity cost because some regular units will be sacrificed, no? As a result of accepting these sales. The question to ask is, ilan, no? Ilang regular units ang willing tayong mawala kung tatanggapin natin ito, special order na to? The most opportunity cost that we can handle is 6,000. The maximum opportunity cost that we can handle is 6,000. This will give us a zero change in profit. Huwag lang sumobra ng 6,000 kasi kung sumobra to, magne-negative na. Magiging incremental loss kapag sumobra sa 6,000. Okay? Every time we sell a regular unit, we earn 12. 20 minus 8, that's 12 pesos. So, ilang ganon yung willing tayong i-sacrifice? 6,000 divided by 12 is 500 units. 6,000 divided by 12 is 500 units. So, that's the correct answer. The number of units that we are willing to lose, maximum, at the regular price, 500 units, before the decision will become unwise. Pwede natin tong gawa ng shortcut. We can also do a shortcut out of this one. The number of regular units we are willing to lose at most, no? At most na maximum, is equal to the contribution margin of the special order, total CM of the special order, divided by the unit CM of the regular sales. Assuming there are no incremental fixed costs and all variable costs are incremental, na pag silent. Total CM of the special order divided by the unit CM of the regular sales. 6,000 pesos divided by 12. That's the shortcut. Maximum number of units that we are willing to lose is 500 units. Okay? Not more than 500 units. We are good to go. Do you have any questions on special order? Kung wala na, we may go to number 3, make or buy. Caro Corp, may I see your answers for Caro Corporation? Okay, answers are now pouring in. Everyone, please. Caro Corp produces 1,000 units of part cam per month. The total manufacturing cost of the part are as follows. Direct materials 10K, direct labor 5K, variable overhead 5K, and fixed overhead 30K. Total manuf cost is 50K. An outside supplier is offered to supply the part at 30 pesos per unit. It is estimated that 20% of the fixed overhead being assigned to Qualcomm will no longer be incurred. If the company purchases the part from the outside supplier, no? If Caro Corp purchases 1,000 units of part cam from the outside supplier, its monthly operating income will decrease or increase by, okay, income ang pinag-uusapan, no? The change in the income. So just to be clear, in special order sales, we are concerned about incremental costs, the additional cost that we would have to incur as a result of taking the action. Meanwhile, in make or buy, we are the buyer. So when we buy something, it should be a savings, no? Bumili tayo para makatipid. We are focused on avoidable costs. Okay? So what we're going to consider here are the avoidable costs of making. That is, when we're going to stop making and buy instead, we can avoid them. We presume that variable manufacturing costs are avoidable. All variable manufacturing costs are avoidable. 10K plus 5K plus 5K, that's a total of 20,000 variable manufacturing costs. Then we have our fixed overhead. When silent, this is not going to be avoided. Pero sinabi dito sa problem na 20% daw niyan ay avoidable. 20% of 30K is 6,000. The relevant cost of making is 26,000 pesos. The relevant cost of making is 26,000 pesos. When we buy, what are the costs that can be avoided if we stop buying? No? If we do not buy, ano yung pwede nating iwasan at gagawa na lang tayo? So if we're going to make instead of buying, we do not have to pay the supplier 30 pesos per unit. 1,000 units, that's a total of 30,000 pesos. When we make, we incur 26K. When we buy, we incur 30K. Huwag nyo nang isama yung unavoidable cost ng fixed overhead. Do not include this anymore because 30K times 0.8, no? Do not include the 24,000 anymore. Including the 24,000 pesos here will be redundant. Isama nyo yung 24K dito. Isasama nyo rin yung 24K dito sa buy option. Okay? Sa buy option. Bakit? So, wag nyo nang isama yung fixed overhead. So, the difference is 4K. Okay kayo? Sige. I hope everything is okay, ha? I hope everything is okay. So, the cost will increase by 4,000 pesos. If the cost will increase by 4,000 pesos, then the operating income will decrease by 4,000. The final answer is a decrease of 4,000 pesos. Okay? Decrease of 4,000 pesos. Okay, number four, still under make or buy. Use the principles of indifference point here. Enter your answers. Okay. All answers in, please. All answers in, please. Lamika Inc. is a multi-product company that currently manufactures 30,000 units of part JADA each month for use in the production of its main product. Facilities now being used to produce JADA have fixed monthly cost of 150,000 pesos and a capacity to produce 84,000 units per month. If Lamika were to buy JADA from an outside supplier, the facilities would be idle, but 60% of the fixed cost would not continue. Yan yung avoidable. The variable production cost of part JADA are 11 pesos per unit. If Lamika is able to obtain part JADA from an outside supplier at a unit purchase price of 12.875, the monthly usage at which it will be indifferent between purchasing and making part JADA. It is what? So we shall consider only the avoidable cost. Yung 60% na avoidable, yun lang. The remaining 40%, whether you make or you buy, it will still be continuously incurred. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang pag-incur ng 40% ng fixed costs, whether you make or you buy. For cost to be relevant, it should differ among the alternatives, no? To be incurred in the future and should be differ among the alternatives. The relevant cost of buying would be 11 pesos times the number of units plus 150K times zero point 0.6 is 90,000 pesos. The relevant cost of buying, on the other hand, is 12.875 per unit times the number of units. We're looking for the number of units where we will be indifferent between the two. Ayaw natin, okay lang sa atin kung make man or buy man, kung yun yung number of units. So what's the indifference point? 11U, deduct it from 12,875 is 1,875 times U. This is equal to 90K. Divide both sides by 1,875, you will have 48,000 units. Whether you make or you buy, the cost will be the same when you are going to produce, when you're going to need 48,000 of part JADA. Okay? Make ka man or buy, same lang, no? Same lang yung ating magiging cost. Okay, that's for number four. What about number five? Before that, may questions sa make or buy? Do you have a question on make or buy? Okay. So, sakaling may tanong, just raise them. Kung wala naman, dito naman tayo sa prioritizing the use of constrained resources. Faustino Inc., number five. Everyone enter. Everyone, please answer. I can see answers already pouring in. I can see answers already pouring in, huh? Everyone, please answer. Faustino Inc. manufactures two products, Michael and Gabriel. The contribution margin per unit is determined as follows. So Michael has 60 and Gabriel has 42. We will need that information. Michael's CM is 60, Gabriel's 42. Total demand for Michael is 16,000 units and for Gabriel is 8,000 units. Machine hours is a scarce resource. Yun yung ating constraint. Only 42,000 machine hours are available during the year. Only 42,000 machine hours are available now. Michael requires 6 machine hours per unit. Gabriel requires 3 machine hours per unit. How many units of Michael and Gabriel should Faustino Inc. produce? So the contribution margin of Michael is greater than that of Gabriel. Mas malaki ang contribution margin ni Michael kesa kay Gabriel. Tama ba? Okay. However, Michael consumes 6 machine hours. Gabriel consumes only 3 machine hours. Kapos nga tayo sa oras. So ang tanong sa atin, yung naiiwan na oras na meron tayo, kanino natin ibibigay? No? Yung naiiwan na oras ng makina, ng the machine time, to whom shall we give it? We're going to give it with the one with the highest margins that we can earn. Every hour we dedicate to Michael gives us margins of 10 pesos only. But for Gabriel, maliit man yung CM niya, 3 machine hours naman yung kinakain niya. 42 divided by 3. So this is a greater number, 14 pesos per machine hour. Yun yung nakukuha natin kay Gabriel. As a result, we have to prioritize Gabriel before Michael. We have to prioritize Gabriel before Michael. So when the machine hours, we will dedicate them. The available is 42,000 machine hours. The available is 42,000 machine hours. Gabriel muna, would require 8,000 times 3. 8,000 times 3. 24,000 machine hours will be consumed by Gabriel. We still have a remaining 18K. Bigay natin kay Michael. Second priority. 16,000 Michaels yung kailangan ibenta times 6. 96,000. Sorry, hindi kaya. Ang kaya lang natin ay 18,000 machine hours. Divided by 6 hours per unit, the most that we can produce is 3,000 units. So very good. To summarize, the answer is we have to produce 3,000 Michaels and then 8,000 Gabriels should we want to maximize our profit. 3,000 lang ng Michael, mababa yung binibigay niyang profit for every scarce resource used. And then 8,000 yung buo ni Gabriel. Okay lang? That's the correct answer for number 5. Prioritizing the use of constrained resources. Meron ba kayong mga tanong? Do you have any questions? Okay. So kung wala, tuloy tayo. Wala pa kayong tanong, ha? Ever since. Okay, just send a message in the chat box kung meron kayong tanong. Okay, 6. This is true awkward. Enter. Okay, results are already pouring in. Chua Corp is deciding whether or not to eliminate Gino segment of its business. Gino segment generates total sales of 104,000 pesos. Direct expenses are 22,000 pesos. Indirect expenses are 26,000 pesos. COGS 64,000 pesos. Only 6,000 pesos of the direct expenses, 8,000 of the indirect expenses are avoidable. Determine the incorrect statement. Calculate ko muna yung existing income statement. Prepare ko muna. For Gino segment of Chua Corp, the sales revenue is 104K. Cost of goods sold is 64,000. Tama? By 104K minus 64K, your gross profit is 40,000. Selling, general, and admin expenses are divided into direct and indirect expenses. The total is 22K for direct and 26K for indirect expenses. Letter A is a true statement. No? Letter A is a true statement, and therefore this is not the answer. We're looking for the incorrect statement. The operating loss is actually 8,000 pesos. The net loss of Gino segment is 8,000 pesos. Okay lang? Letter A is a true statement, and therefore that is not the answer. So let's analyze what would happen when we keep Gino segment. Siyempre, nothing. When we drop Gino segment, something. When we keep Gino segment, no change. When we drop Gino segment, there is a change. Sales revenue would go down by 104K. Bababa yung sales revenue ng 104,000 pesos. Cost of goods sold will also decline by 64,000. Double negative is positive, and therefore the gross profit would go down by 40,000. I think it is reasonable to assume that when you drop Gino segment, syempre mawawala ang revenue niya at yung cost of goods sold. Mawawala si Gino segment, wala siyang mabenta, at wala siyang gastusin na cost of goods sold. So we can presume that the gross profit will go down by 40,000 pesos. When we eliminate Gino segment, gross profit would go down by 40,000 pesos. Next, so direct expenses, only 6K is avoidable. For indirect expenses, only 8K is avoidable. Double negatives or positives. So 40K, 6K, and 8K. Negative 40K plus 6K plus 8K. Your change in profit would be 26,000 pesos decrease. Okay? Your net loss will decrease further. No? Your net profit will decrease further from negative 8K to 20 by 26K. No? By 26K. Ibig sabihin nun, bababa pa siya ng 26K. So negative 8, negative 26, tama ba ako? 34? Bababa yung operating income nyo ng 34,000. So this is what will happen. Bababa yung operating income nyo ng 26,000. From 8K, magiging 34K. Malinaw yun ha? Bababa yung operating income ng 26K. From 8K, it will go down to 34K. So gawa tayo before and after. If we're going to drop Gino segment, mawawala yung gross profit. Yung direct at indirect expenses, mawala yung 6K at 8K. Ang may iwan na lang, 16K direct expenses, 22 minus 6, and then 26 minus 8, 18K. Overall, your operating loss will now be 34K, no? From negative 8K, magiging negative 34K. Bumagsak pa siya ng 26K. Alina? So, the question is the segment's revenue greater than the avoidable cost? Okay, gawin kong green yung revenue, ha? I will make revenue green. Your sales revenue is 104,000. Meanwhile, your avoidable cost, the avoidable cost nyo, COGS 64, direct expense 6, indirect expense 8. When you add these three, 64, 6, and 8K, they are less than the sales revenue. So it is true that the segment's revenue is greater than the avoidable cost. Letter boy is a true statement, and therefore, letter boy is not the answer. How about the indirect expenses? Okay, how about the unavoidable costs? The unavoidable costs are 16K and 18K respectively. Unavoidable costs will give you a total of 34K. This is less than the avoidable cost. Avoidable cost 64 plus 14. Ano yun? 98, sorry, 88, no? 64 plus 8 is 72, plus 6 is 84, no? Okay, 84,000 ata. Anyway, your avoidable costs are greater than the unavoidable costs. So letter dog is a true statement, and therefore that's not the answer. The incorrect statement here is letter C. Ang maling statement dito, we're looking for the incorrect statement, is letter C. The segment is a good candidate for elimination. No. Why not? Because eliminating Gino segment will worsen your loss further downward. From negative 8K na, magiging negative 34K pa yung magiging ambag niya dun sa overall company. Okay? Pag nawala siya. Correct answer is C. This is the incorrect statement. Any questions? Keep or drop? Any questions? Keep or drop? Okay, wala pala akong volume kanina. Wala akong volume sa inyo. Kung meron man nagsasalita at hindi ko naririnig, sorry for that. You may use the chat box muna. Okay, Chua Corp, may question kayo dito sa keep or drop? Kasi kung wala, diretso na tayo kay David Corporation. May I know your answers for David Corporation? David Corporation produces two products from a joint process. Information about the two joint products follows. Follows. Anticipated production given. Selling price per pound that's split off also given. Additional processing cost per pound after split off, all of which are variable. Then selling price per pound after further processing. The joint cost is 85,000 pesos. David currently sells both products at split off. So the baseline is that all products are sold at split off. No? Ito yung baseline natin. Currently, both products are sold at split off. If David makes the decision which maximizes profits, its profits will increase by enter. Enter your answers. Nasaan yung sagot nyo, everyone? Nasaan yung sagot nyo, everyone? Everyone, please. Okay. So, isa-isahin natin. Si Product X, sell or process further. When you sell, no added profits. But when you process further, you're going to increase your price by 10 pesos. The variable cost, however, will go up by 15. 40 minus 30 is 10, but cost will increase by 15. 10 minus 15 is negative 5, wag na lang. Tama na yung ginagawa niya, binebenta at split off. Okay? Tama na yung ginagawa niya, binebenta at split off. Sell immediately for product X. How about product Y? For product Y, the increase in sales price when you process further from 16 magiging 50, additional 34 pesos. Cost will go up only by 30. Panalo ka kay Y when you process further. Okay? Your profits will increase by 4 pesos per unit when you process further. So, ang babaguhin nyo lang action, yung kay product Y. The only action that you will change is that for product Y. For product X, as is. Okay? So the increase in profits when you're going to choose the option which maximizes profit, no increase for X kasi tama na yung ginagawa niya. No increase for X. What he is currently doing is already good. But for Y, we can increase it further by 16,000 if we process further. So very good. The correct answer is an increase of 16,000 pesos. The correct answer is an increase of 16,000 pesos. Okay, anyone? Please ask questions about anything in relevant costing, no? In marginal analysis. Wala talaga kayong tanong? Okay, thank you for participating, everyone. So let me stop recording first.